right. Yeah, just continuing. But like we were at Tally, and after the game, like I had to wait like 20 minutes. Then we went to Whataburger for like the prices to come down. $50 Uber, and then we're just not going out at that point. But yeah, it was a fun weekend for the Hurricanes. And welcome back to another episode of Primetime Live. As always, Shay here, joined by Jaden. Jaden, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I mean, I got no words to say. Unbelievable weekend for the Canes, number 2 in the country. Got another bye week going on. Shay, you were boots on the ground in Tallahassee. How was everything over there?
Yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal experience. Just going up to Tally, covering it for University of Miami. Sick experience. I think anybody who was around, but we'll talk more about the game as we go on. But like, it was just the first, at least going through those first 3 quarters, Miami dominating the game as they did. Malachi Tony, Carson Beck, CJ Daniels offensively doing what they do. Watching Jacoby Thomas fly around the field like he did. It was really fun to see. And just sitting up in the press box and kind of just watching it all go down. With, there was NFL scouts in up there too. So guys looking at Miami guys, and seeing Miami come through in that big game. It's your first road game. Easily could have, not easily, but you know what I mean. It's a game where like if Miami managed to lose it, you're like, it's your first game on the road. You're in a hostile environment, very losable game. And Miami held on, pushed through kind of everything, and managed to come down with that win. But away from it, how was it for you, Jaden?
It was good. I was at a bar with my friends. Everyone was there for the game. Environment was good among all the Canes fans in Miami. It felt good. I was nervous. They kept showing the presentation of them coming out. That crowd is electric. I got no words for how good that FSU crowd always is. It's that good. But I was nervous after that first drive. They score 3 points. Miami is a nice bend don't break defense on the first drive. And I was a little nervous. I was like, all right, let's see what the offense can do. Offense, which we'll talk about later, just unbelievable performance for the first 3 quarters. They were so good. They played so well. The entire team played so well. It was a perfect game in every aspect for Miami, I think. In those first 3 quarters, coming off a bye, did what they needed to do. Went to Tallahassee, beat their in-state rivals, came home with a dub. Now in-state champions, Florida champions for the 2nd straight year. No other teams, 6-0 against USF, UF, FSU in back-to-back seasons.
Bethune-Cookman, if you want to toss them on there.
We own the state of Florida for the 2nd straight year. That feels good. That feels awesome. It's something that you have to hold your head high on. Like to say to the rest of the nation, hey, we're the best team in Florida, one of the best states for college football. We're the best team in Florida for the 2nd year in a row. That's a positive that everyone's going to, recruits, whoever that may be, is going to say, wow, Miami's building something over there. Give them their props. The media's giving us our props. Number 2 in the AP poll. We're getting shown the love because we are playing like we are among the best teams in college football. Every single person you see is saying that we're different. We're different. That's a credit to Mario with how well he's built this team. So I mean, let's get right into it, right, Shay?
Oh well, yeah. But before we go, I just want to say, like these. I know it seems silly, like Miami wins in Florida games, and like it's like okay, but these things do matter. Like I was in the press conference after the game, Chris Paul was talking about it. Like guys grow up watching these games in South Florida. Then they end up going to these teams. You have people homegrown, kind of just seeing this all go on, and it really does matter at the end of the day. Miami coming home, being the top Florida team right now, beating the other Florida teams, it does really impact kind of where this, how people outside view the program, and like even people internally, how you're seeing kind of this culture develop. Like, oh yeah, we're the best team in Florida, and we're going to prove that year in, year out. I know next year Miami won't get to play UF. But you're always going to have those games against FSU, maybe a year every now and then USF mixed in, and bringing home those games and showing why you're the best in the state. It's definitely going to matter, especially in this type of environment where Florida is one of the best, recruiting hubs anywhere. In the country. So being able to recruit inside this state by bringing home and bringing the buzz about like, oh, Miami's back, which we can kind of talk about more as we go on, but kind of showcasing that I think is just very important.
Yeah, I mean the bragging rights among these guys. These guys more likely than not played against all these guys in high school, where they played with teammates with them, they played against them in high school. They know these guys really well. So for them, it was personal. For them, it was an emotional game for a lot of those guys, and I'm sure it felt awesome. I'm sure it felt amazing for them. Again, USF, FSU, 3 games. You're saying, wow, I saw these guys when I was in high school. I'm playing against them now. Like these games matter. These games matter for bragging rights, matter for personal reasons. Mario has said it. He said it last year when we beat FSU about how it's a change in a culture, change in the way that the state of Florida is being viewed. As a, for years it's always been is it UF or is it FSU? And now Miami's, all the way back to the point we're saying, is it Miami and then who else? Because UF struggling over the last year. I know they beat Texas. FSU, awful year last year, has two back-to-back losses. Now Miami has shown the last 2 years now, we're the best team in the state, and you just got to keep building off it. But it's an awesome start where you are for your Miami, where you're like, this is a stepping stone for them. Now it's moving on to bigger and bigger things, but that's an amazing start so far what's been an amazing 5-0 start to the season.
100%. And now we can get into the actual game itself. Shout out to John over here, but like it's pretty much the sense of how this game goes. 3 full quarters of domination over FSU, and then a rough fourth quarter. We'll get a little bit more into it, but Jaden, I think the most impressive thing kind of for this game, though, was, my opinion, the takeaway, at least through 3 quarters, was how, the takeaway in general was seeing how this Miami defense played and how Corey Heatherman got his defense out here to play. That was my biggest takeaway. I know Miami's offense flashed, and it's really fun to watch, how Malachi Toney and Carson Beck and those deep balls start to hit. But going through this game and seeing how you kind of, for 3 quarters, hold down this explosive FSU offense. You keep Tommy Castellanos and Deuce Robinson in check. No real huge explosive chunk plays. Yes, there's a 10, 15 yard, a 20-yard play here and there sprinkled in, but especially when you watch how that game was being played, UF was constantly trying to sprinkle in different motions, different formations, things that kind of eye candy to kind of get Miami confused, and then consistently, like I said, a play here or there, but for the most part, it was lockdown defense through 3 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers for the first through 3 quarters. Tommy Castellanos, 10 for 18, 119 yards, 2 picks. In total for the entire game, he only had 16 carries, 57 yards. FSU entered this week with 600 total yards of offense per game. They were averaging over 300 yards rushing per game. They had 57 yards from Castellanos, who has been one of their leading rushers. That's limiting your best guy. And then Gavin Sawchuk, 11 carries, 47 yards. Usman Kroma, 6 carries, 23 yards. They held them to 132 yards, which, maybe seems like they were averaging 300 yards a game on the run. To limit them that way is incredible. You force Castellanos to throw, and you saw what happened when you forced Castellanos to throw. He made mistakes. He didn't look great in those first 3 quarters, and actually ended up being the turning point of this game, which to me was second quarter was Miami up 7-3. Castellanos throws an interception to true freshman Bryce Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald runs it back 43 yards. Very next play, back 44-yard touchdown, Malachi Toney. Game changer. They're driving. They're near the red zone. They can kick a field goal there if they don't convert, right? That makes it 7-6. Instead, he throws a pick. Then Miami gets a touchdown, 14-3. Absolute game changer. Kind of told the story for the rest of this game. And, you're right. Defense was awesome. Well, these numbers are incredible from what you can look at. 119 yards for Castellanos, 2 picks from him. Jacoby Thomas with the other pick. Ruben Bain, no other words to describe how incredible he is.
Yeah, didn't have the statistical numbers necessarily, but I think if you watch that game, he's flying around the field like he always does. I think he had 11 pressures.
11 pressures. FSU
11 pressures.
7 total pressures.
What'd you say?
FSU had 7 total. Bain had 11 on his own. Had 2
Ruben Bain doing what he does.
90.7 pass rush grade, 32% win rate. Didn't get the sacks. Did whatever. But he was dominant in the run. He was feared by every offensive lineman on FSU. He made his presence felt. Every single time you watch him play, you're like, wow, Ruben Bain's everywhere. It feels like that. Mario said it a bunch. He's 275 pounds, but he moves like he's 200 pounds. That's how good he is. He is an incredible athlete. He is playing like the best defensive player in the country. He has 30 total pressures on the season, which is second in the country. the highest PFF grade of any player. They're just incredible. There's one play that I think of
Before you
right
get to that,
Yep.
I just wanna thank you,
Thank
John
you,
Bird
John.
over here. I agree. This team is definitely special. Ruben Bay just one piece and as part of a puzzle that is coming together as we go through this season. Miami does have a very special team. I'm gonna be biased a little bit, obviously, but like I'm gonna start in the trenches just because I feel like that's where this team has been consistently impressive throughout the year. And Ruben Bain's like the key to it all. I think above everything, he's kind of stood out. Jaden, you can go talk about this play really fast, but yeah, but Ruben Bain kind of the key to where this Miami defense starts and finishes. A key Mesidor as well, but you can continue.
My first thought of there was a play FSU calls a read option between Sawchuk and Castellanos. They do like the fake. They hand it off to the running back. They pan to Bain on one side. They then pan to the other one. It's Mesidor right there. That's the definition of what Miami's defenses look like this season. It's Bain on one side, it's Mesidor on the other. They're one of the best 1-2 punches. I believe the stat is they're playing as good as that Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Ohio State duo a few years back. They're playing to that level of dominance. They're elite in the run. They're elite in the pass rush. They just look incredible week in, week out. And even Ahmad Moten, who went down with injury, Dave Blaze steps in, no change. FSU's offense does nothing better. That's how good this defensive line is. That's how good the trenches are. During the game, I heard Fowler was talking about Alex Mirabal and giving him credit because that is what he's done, building this offensive line and how incredible the trenches look. We have the best trench in the offense and defensive line in the country, and that's going to lead us. It's going to continue to lead us. And one thing I would like to say, I would say in terms of how good Miami is, good teams win when you can win in different ways. And we've seen that already through the season. So last game they played against UF, they won that game because of the run. Tremar Brown, Mark Fletcher dominated the run that entire game. Marty Brown was their leading receiver. Beck had a terrible game. Flash forward this week, Beck was incredible. There's nothing like he played a perfect game. FSU stacked the box against the run, and Beck just dominated, absolutely dominated this week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this Miami team just keeps on winning in different ways every single week is just very impressive. Yeah, it's just been just so impressive to see how different as teams try to hit them with different game plans, they respond to it in various ways. And once again, just not going to ignore the fact that like this was the first road game of the year for this team. This is like in hostile territory against a ranked opponent. Yeah, maybe FSU slipped up last week, but it was even more kind of energy for them to kind of come out and win this game, to not only bounce back from last week, but also to kind of showcase themselves on national television, how good they think that team could be. And Miami coming with the win, playing a different style of football as they have to do every single week. Shout out to Dolphin here. Like, yeah, it's very impressive what the Canes are doing right now, where they are able to adjust depending on what the game plan presents to them. You think about back to that USF game. Well, let's go take some downfield shots to Joshua Moore, who's going to get 2 touchdowns because he's going to slide into this game. Like Miami's going to win in a million different ways, and it's just very impressive to see how well we hadn't really seen too much ever here and there, but really this game was the first one where you saw multiple deep shots connect. And I think hearing from Carson after the game, he was talking about like, yeah, you're going to call a few of those per game, hoping that maybe you land one of them. Go 1 for 3, but Miami going for hitting 2 big deep shots, the flea flicker to Tony, who was special in that game, and then also hitting CJ Daniels on that deep post because the defense was like, oh, we're going to stack the box, we're going to prevent Miami from running the football, and we're going to dare Carson Beck to throw. And because that's what this game called for, Carson and that offense punished them for that. And I mean, I'm going to toss it back to you on Tony, but he was just special that game. Yeah. 2 40-yard touchdowns, should have had a third if it wasn't for an illegal motion. He's been special throughout the season, and that game was kind of like the explosion for it all, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that's his national breakout game. He's been great all season long. In Notre Dame, he was that good, and they showed it. Like, oh, Malachi Tony. This was his Ryan Williams, this kid's a true freshman kind of game where people are saying this kid's 18, this kid's doing all these things. He put up a shape, absolute clinic on offense. He dropped, but he has that deep ball attempt from Beck in the early first quarter, I believe the first drive of the game. Kind of go through his hands. It's a tough play. I'm not going to give him, that's a tough play in general. goes right after next drive, drive continuously gets better and better. Has 7 catches, 170 yards, 2 tutties. And then you're right, the 52-yard touchdown that got called back for a procedural penalty should have been a touchdown. And that play was so sick, despite it not being,
Yeah,
counted.
I mean, he weaves his way through tacklers, I think breaks a couple tackles, and he's just running down the sideline past everybody. And it's like insane because like you're like, well, this is I think just another play. The touchdown on the fourth down hits the curl, sits perfectly in space, turns upfield immediately, and the Jets, and he's gone for a 40-yard score. Like he's just so impressive week in, week out with everything he's doing.
Yeah, there's nothing more to like. He is truly the best true freshman in the country. I think that's a pretty fair thing to say. He's playing at the level that we're seeing. He's been among the best receivers in college football, period, this season. That's how good he's been. He's been a spark plug for the team. He adds the speed where CJ Daniels adds the physicality. They just play so well together, and it makes Beck's job so much easier. When Beck has not really pressured, he has his time to make the throws. He finds his guys. He makes the right plays. Tony was incredible. The CJ Daniels all game was incredible. I love the celebrations. If I don't know if you saw them, they were so good. They played with so much swagger. They played with so much fun. They felt like they were just having fun out there. And I think that's kind of the whole thing of what Miami's been playing this year. They're just having fun. Beck is playing to the level he did in 2023. And you have an 18-year-old who was, when he was 17, 18-year-old who's just playing out of his mind football. They're being ran on true freshmen. And I saw a tweet. They were like, how good of a recruitment message is it when you have 2 true freshmen playing huge minutes and important minutes? Fitzgerald's pick was one of the game-changing plays, and then it followed up with the Malachi Tony 45-yard touchdown. So it was like, that's Miami football right now. That's a huge recruiting message. It's a huge sign for Miami, and it's just they're getting better each and every single week, and I don't even think they've played their best game yet.
Yeah, I think because I mean I guess we can kind of talk about it now. But I mean, last comment on that. It's just very impressive to see how involved the young players are in this team. Yeah. Tony's the big name, but obviously Fitzgerald kind of stepping into this role now as Miami's one of his best, in the secondary. 3 picks in 5 games, I'm pretty sure is the number of the season. He's very impressive, but let's get to kind of the big concern.
One more. I want to one more shout out to the defense. Jacoby Thomas.
Oh, yes.
Performance.
Yes.
Unbelievable. 5 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 1 pick, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack, the highest graded UM player against FSU. He was lights out. He's been really I think he's been probably Mario's best transfer on defense, which is saying something because he changed, Xavier Lucas has looked really good. Ethan O'Connor, all these guys, David Blay. And I could say Jacoby Thomas has been, even Zacharias Poyser, who had a good game. Jacoby Thomas has looked like the best of his transfer guys. He's like, and Keontae Scott. He's looked like one of the best. He played an incredible game against FSU, had a really good game against UF. He's stacking up really good weeks. The defense, the safety group, they just look that much better together. That defense is playing elite level football, and it's complemented with an offense that can do so much. The run game didn't even have to do a whole lot. They were held under 100 yards. The receiving game did most of the work on offense, and then defensively, they were just perfect. I got no words. And let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yes, the fourth quarter was rough. I think only 17 yards offensively. FSU, those last few minutes, drive after drive, getting back into that game where if they kick the field goal, which makes sense, keep yourself as much time as possible to get that touchdown. They kick the field goal, make it, and suddenly Miami has a chance where if they don't recover that last onside kick, they lose the game. I think. What do you think? Is that more of a concern? Is it more of just kind of you want to see Miami build off of something like that and kind of fully extinguish opponents?
Absolutely yes. I'm in a spot right now where I think they have to learn from this. You cannot go ultra conservative when you have a big lead like this. You are up 28-3 entering the fourth quarter. And even it was 12 minutes left and they still had this 28-3 lead. And they didn't even mess up. They didn't have any turnovers on offense. And if one special teams play goes awry, because it almost did, because neither kick from FSU went 10 yards, and they still tried to recover it, and it almost cost them. Like could have been really scary. Shout out West because he got both the recoveries, but that was scary. That was really, really, it was tense. It was not necessary to put that much stress on me when you're up 28-3 and just be like, yeah, let's put up 17 yards of total offense. I think it was four passing yards? Three passing yards, 14 rushing yards, 9 rushes for an average of 1.6 yards per carry. And they only had 6 minutes of total possession. Awful, 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 awful offense. Shannon Dawson, please just play the football you played for 3 quarters. Don't change anything. Truly, when teams go away from what won them the game or what was winning them the game, they collapse. They just had to play the same football, similar football. They didn't have to play elite. They get one more score. They do one simple thing. The game's over. And then defensively, I wish they just played the same defense because then they play this drop back coverage of defense, even though they were blitzing. Castellanos was basically just rolling out and throwing and finding an open receiver on 99% of his throws. It was annoying. It was dumb. And it's not like this is the first time we've seen it either. This is this is the most extreme of them because Notre Dame kind of got themselves back into the game because they're a good team. UF, they just let UF in that game too long. This one, you have a 25-point lead and you just kind of let FSU do whatever they wanted. You almost they just quit. It just felt like they just didn't do anything for 12 minutes. So it was a disaster. Yeah. CFK says right. Neither kick went 10 yards. They didn't have to do anything. And they almost gave up the ball to FSU on one of them. It was crazy. They still let the ball hit them first. So I am concerned about it. It needs to be addressed. That is I've been saying this. Miami's biggest enemy for the rest of the season is themselves. Themselves. There's nothing about it. You have the record with Mario Cristobal in November, December. They're 4-10 in under Mario in the Mario era. That's a problem. They need to figure out the fourth quarters. They need to figure out how to play 60 minutes of perfect football or just really good football for the rest of the season. They cannot do this to us. They just can't, Shay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no words to what happened. It was very rough. Like we said, 17 yards, only 4 rushing yards. And it was really a mess. And you want to see Miami kind of put the light out in teams. Shout out Joey over here. See, you understand, seeing your team kind of slowly lose grasp of a game is very scary. And you don't the thing about the Notre Dame game. Miami goes up multiple scores, has a stretch of 3, was it 3 or 4 straight 3 and outs in that game?
Yeah, you're right.
It was 4 straight 3 and outs, and then lets Notre Dame back into that game when it felt like Miami had control of it. And then you go to this game, and it's similar. You think about the UF game. They let UF hang in it very long. I know there was a called back touchdown, but still, you felt like UF was in that game longer than they should have been. And if they convert on some of those fourth downs late in the game, then maybe it's an entirely different game. Miami, that's the biggest concern so far. Yes, they put out USF one early, very fast, but outside of that, in these big games, Miami has seemed to kind of struggle to close it out fully. And as we go on to the ACC part of play, it's something you need to address. And another comment from Mario after the game was it's playoff time for all. It's playoff. You got to acknowledge that it's playoff time consistently throughout the rest of the season. Miami is now the hunted, not the hunter anymore. And so teams are looking to knock Miami off and ruin their season. And all these teams, if you don't, as he was talking about, if you don't acknowledge the fact that these are really good players on really good teams all across the ACC, and that you're not going to address holes and you're not going to look to improve. If you just stay complacent in where you are, you're not going to last very long. And Miami needs to kind of address these things. I have faith in, what's going on, seeing the program and how it's built so far to kind of continue to improve, but still it's concerning to see it multiple times. And you want to see Miami kind of fully close out these games a lot stronger than they have so far.
Yeah. Did Mario was he asked a question specifically about the way that they've ended these games?
Not specific. He wasn't asked specifically about how they ended the games. I think he was just talking. It was more of a question about going to ACC play. How do you want to see this team improve and continue to kind of?
I need to know his thoughts because this is it's almost like a continuous Mario thing where it's we can't salt away a game properly, and it's a problem. You have to be able to put out a team in full. I understand they had a 28-3 lead, but they have to like fully put them out, like just make it impossible for their fans to even say we have a chance. That game was like that, and they still had a chance. They outscored us 19-0. If you look at their drives, Miami's drives, they go 3 plays 3 yards, 7 plays 16 yards.
Quick question.
Also 7 plays 5 yards.
Quick
Disaster.
question for you.
Mhm.
Would you have kicked the field goal, or do you agree with them going for it on fourth?
I only agree with it because it's still a 2-score game. And I think the fear was if Davis's kick got blocked, that could have been returned, but it could have been a quick score. So I can see that part of it. I would have preferred the kick.
They were at the 25, I believe, right?
Yeah, it would have been like it would have been a possible kick. It would have been a very and it would have made it from a 9-point game to a 12-point game. You force FSU to have 2 touchdowns. I get that. But at the same time, I don't know. The 4th and 8 play was just a bad play. It was a terrible play call.
Yeah, I think they were trying to run the little, fake it and then dump it out to Tony.
He tried getting Tony, got tipped. It was just they didn't know really what they were doing there. I guess in truth, I probably would have said kick to make it a 12-point game. But I mean, again, this is a situation that shouldn't have to happen. It just shouldn't happen. It should just be, hey, can you get me 1 first down? Hey, can you get me more than 17 yards of offense in the 4th quarter, despite, the fact of how they played. So it kind of just more bothered me, made me more frustrated, despite when you have a 28-3 lead against your in-state rivals, I want to be able to just, talk as much as possible. And then when the box score watchers look back in this game and say, why was this game 28-22? And they were out yarded. Tommy Castellanos finished like 300 yards passing.
Yeah, exactly. All the numbers, I saw it on Twitter. All the UF fans are like, "Oh, all the numbers look in their favor aside from the turnovers." When realistically, you got your stuff rocked for about 3 quarters, and then So
it was just a problem, and I think they need to figure that out. And it's really not that bad of a concern. Be like, oh, all you need to do is learn how to close out a game properly, even when you have a 25-point lead. They have a favorable schedule, but I'm right. I think I'm consistent on this, that their biggest enemies themselves, and we've seen it year in, year out. Last year, 2 years ago, the Georgia Tech game, the infamous one, they shot themselves in the foot continuously. I think of this Breece Hall quote from the Jets. Teams shoot themselves in the foot, we shoot ourselves in the head. Miami's got to stop doing that to themselves, essentially, in certain situations. November and December games, in really winnable games. Like, you have to just really win the small one. Like, you have to, be able to be competent in some of these games. They are very competent. They are the number 2 team in the country, and they're playing like the number 2 team in the country. I just need a little bit more of them to just be like, finish a team. So for the sake of my mental health and for the sake of everything for me, just finish a team.
Yeah, 100% agree. I'll say this. Shout out to Kane fan. Yes, the only numbers that matter are the scoreboard, but you do want to see the numbers statistically look like you just dominated FSU for 4 quarters instead of just 3. Because all the numbers slam in Miami's favor through 3 quarters, and then it's like, well, that 4th quarter kind of makes FSU look like they had a lot better of a game than they had, and you don't want it to come down to the chance of an onside kick. It's not like it's in college. It's like a million. It's not like the NFL where it's impossible. Anything's more possible in college, and so that goes off somebody's hands just a slightly different way. Yes. And Miami's in a situation where okay, we have to stop this drive fully, otherwise we lose. And so you really don't want that to be in that scenario. Would have much preferred if that score was 42-14 at the end of it, and Miami did anything offensively. Where right now, you're going into it, you feel good about most of that game. That last quarter leaves a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. It was for 3 quarters, I was feeling hey, they might put us number 1, and then they do that, and why are you doing that to me? Come on, this was so good, this was so awesome. Why are you making me sweat this out now? So, all right, it's whatever. They won the game. They beat an in-state rival. End of the day, big picture, they won the game. They have another bye week. They can easily figure something out, and their rest of the season is not a gauntlet. They already played the toughest of their toughest. They've
and I
Notre
think
Dame, UF, FSU.
mhm. And I think it's a real benefit to this schedule. Like even going in, I know Miami has like a little bit of a weird ending where you're back to back games on the road, but overall, like look at the teams that you play. Louisville might be a little tricky. They're pretty good. They're 4-1. Barely lost to Virginia last week.
Yep.
That might be a tricky game, but overall, like you're looking at the teams, and it's teams that you think you're a lot better than. Louisville, like I said, 4-1, but they are you have a bye week, and they're coming off a loss. Stanford 2-3, not great. SMU might be a little tricky because you're going. It's Miami's first game far away from home. This is going on the road into Texas, beginning of November. First game where you're gonna have to leave the state of Florida. See how you can work around that. Syracuse 0-2 their last 2 games. NC State not doing great. Virginia Tech fired their head coach. Pitt. Then like overall, like it looks like Miami can handle the back end of that schedule, but still you're still like you gotta, the way this Miami team has kind of struggled to close out games sometimes, you want to see dominance as you kind of run through the rest of that schedule, because it'd be awesome to see Miami at the end of the season with the number 1 seed. We talked about it a million times. Being in the top 4 matters so much in terms of having that bye, and Miami solidifying themselves inside the top 4 as the season goes on by running through the gauntlet, hopefully going whatever it is in the ACC, finishing out that ACC schedule perfect, and then going into the ACC championship against whoever it is, whether it be Georgia Tech or FSU,
Or
would be
UVA.
huge.
Yeah. So I would say for them, I'm talking really, really like this is, I don't think this will happen. But if Miami were to somehow be the number 1 overall team in the country, they go undefeated, they win their ACC championship game, they get the number 1 seed, they get the Orange Bowl for their first game, which is fun that they basically get a home game as the first round bye. And then if they were to go to the Natty's in Miami as well. Obviously, we're speaking way too far ahead, but it's pretty cool. It's a cool thing to have to kind of look forward to. But you're right. The rest of the season, they're all games they're going to be favored in, probably favored by over scoring. So again, their biggest enemy is themselves. They cannot really mess up. I think SMU is probably the toughest game. Their homecoming night game in Dallas, going to be a fun game for them. That game's going to be one of their tougher ones. I've been saying that Pitt is going to be a trap game because Pitt loves beating teams randomly in a cold day in December. So I am a little like, obviously there's fear there, but rest of the season they should be favored. Like you look at some of the other teams, and it's not like Miami's resume hasn't been like, oh, who have they played? They have 3 teams in the current top 25 they beat, including Notre Dame, who's, in all honesty, Notre Dame probably wins out and makes the playoffs. USF, who's now 24, FSU is 25. And UF, who's a good SEC team. So they've proven it. They've already proven it. Now, rest of the season, they essentially get, I'm not going to say they're cakewalk games, but Louisville and SMU are their toughest. And then it's really nothing special. Really, nothing.
It's you're looking at the rest of this lineup of games, and there's no great team that really currently stands out. Maybe, like I said, Louisville, they've consistently received top 25 votes this season, but they've kind of been on that edge of a top 25 team. Play a really close game against a pretty good Virginia team that Miami's not going to have to see. You're not going to have to see Virginia. You're going to see Virginia Tech, who's fired their head coach, and the season kind of seems over for them. So, but those are teams that are going to be looking to knock Miami off, and so you can't take them lightly.
Yep.
So yeah, 100%. Like, yes, it looks easy, but at the same point, like I said earlier, you're the hunted. You're not the hunter anymore. You're not the team. You're not the upstart team looking to take, showcase yourself. You're number 2 in the nation, and every team, you're going to get every team's best every single week, and you have to show why you're ranked 2 in the nation by dominating those games. Shout out to John over here. Game by game, you got to dominate.
Yeah.
And so make it, which shout out to Kane fan over here. Maybe we see this. And so, like that's the goal that you want to get to. And by taking it week by week, game by game, you got to prove yourself consistently. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, mid-season, now we've basically hit mid-season. I mean, how would you rate everything you've seen from Miami so far this year?
If I had to give it a grade, I'd probably. I mean, this is about as good as you would hope a start to be. I think going into
Yeah.
the season, if you had to base it off of preseason expectations, we're like, okay, Miami's probably going to lose one of these big games. You looking at Notre Dame, Florida, SMU. We're like, okay, Miami's probably going to lose one of those big games. FSU becomes the team that Miami's like, okay, that's a very losable game on the road against a top 25 team. And so Miami braving the storm, kind of going through it all, has been very impressive. And I think seeing the way this defense has kind of come together so quickly, and then more importantly, seeing how the offense did not really need time to figure things out like we both thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, there's no better way you could expect. Obviously, it would be awesome if Miami dominated Notre Dame or dominated FSU, but it's an A. I think. I mean, I dock points just because you don't end up blowing those teams out when you could have. But it's competitive. It's college football. I'm not expecting you to blow it every single game. So you get an A pretty much if I had to rate it.
I'm in the same boat. I remember us like beginning of the year. We're talking about what we'd prefer. You know, would you rather split against Notre Dame and UF, but you win all your ACC games? You beat Notre Dame and UF and an FSU team that became one of the a really good team in the country, and now you're in a prime position to really take over as potentially be the number one team in the country. Like towards the end of the season, with the record that you have and the schedule that you have, it's probably as good as you can get. I mean, I didn't expect the defense to be this good. I didn't expect Ruben Bain. I knew Ruben Bain coming off an injury was going to be better than he was last year and better than his freshman year. Did not think we're talking best player in the country. I didn't think Akeem Mesidor paired with him would be the best 1-2 defensive line punch in the country. I didn't think the secondary was going to improve so significantly that we're talking about one of the best defenses in the nation in itself. On offense, I was afraid of the receiver core. I was afraid who was going to step up. CJ Daniels, as a physical guy, and Malachi Tony, looking at the best true freshman in the country, has been incredible. I was not afraid of the run game. I was not afraid of the O-line. They have been as expected. The receiver group has exceeded my expectations tenfold. The defense has exceeded my expectations. Beck has been above average than what I expected. So I can't really complain about this. I think this start is as good as it can get. Number 2 team in the country. I don't think I would probably say that.
I don't think either of us really expected number 2 in the country, at least this early.
And then also Penn State and Texas, not even in the top 25 anymore. Like, there's nothing. Oh, also Clemson, right? Everyone was, Clemson's going to be that team.
Clemson out of it, Texas out of it, Penn State out of it. It's, now FSU, I mean, at this point, not that we predicted them to be this great and all, but 2 losses in the ACC, they might be out of the contention unless Miami slips up massively at the end of the year. Or Georgia Tech, either one. But yeah, so this Canes team being as good as they are and kind of some of the expected competition falling back a little bit kind of opens up a much bigger window than we kind of both initially thought going into the season.
It went from a window of, oh, we'll make the playoffs, maybe win a game, to this team is a national championship contender potentially, going up against the current reigning ones in Ohio State, who I don't know if they look as good as last year, but they look very good still. And then outside of, I would say us in Miami, or us in Ohio State, I'm not totally sure who we're looking at and saying, Oregon looks good, Ole Miss looks good, A&M looks pretty good. Outside of that, I'm not really seeing a lot of teams that are playing.
I think you'd have to give the credit to Oregon just because they do.
Absolutely.
They do go to Penn State in that whiteout game and beat them there. So that you have to give them credit to. But yeah, really, Ohio State, Oregon,
Ole Miss winning in going into Ole Miss beating LSU. Trinidad Chambliss looking really
Trinidad
good.
Chambliss looking as good as he. I think the top 4 is the deserved top 4, and Miami's entrenched kind of with those teams.
Oklahoma too. Oklahoma looks really solid with John.
Oklahoma, that's fair, but Mateer's out for a little bit, which you never know how they'll rise or fall depending on that scenario. Obviously, Ole Miss hasn't really seemed to take a step back, even though they have their backup in. So look at
Indiana with Fernando Mendoza.
Indiana is very impressive with Fernando Mendoza. I think that feels more of just we'll see how the season goes on. But I think
this week they play Oregon this week. It's gonna be
they play Oregon this week. So yeah, we'll see really where they are. this week, and in terms of
there's a lot more questions than answers right now in the current college football landscape.
Yeah.
And it feels like of the questions that have been answered, Miami is one of them. And because they've proven it, they have they have the best resume in college football. No disrespect to Ohio State, because Texas was the number 1 ranked team when they played them, but they currently don't have anyone who is ranked in the top 25. That's just a stat. It's just a fact. I know they still have Penn State this year. They still have Michigan this year, but they haven't played. They have also have Illinois later this year, so they have some tough games. I need to see more from Ohio State, because I can't necessarily say they did play Washington well, but I can't necessarily. I need to see more.
Yeah, which I mean, I'll see when Ohio State.
Illinois is this week, I believe.
Yeah, Illinois is this week, which is their next kind of test of a test of a game. They do have Penn State in 3 weeks from now, which is like maybe yes, maybe no.
Penn State just lost to UCLA.
Penn State just lost to UCLA, so it's like, do I really? Am I going to take too much stock into that? But I still think Penn State's a good team, just not like a great team. Obviously, last game of the year, Michigan will be a test because they're playing good football up there. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting kind of way to see how they get tested, if at all, throughout the rest of the year. And Illinois is going to be a test. Illinois played a pretty good USC team after being dominated by Indiana, and came home with a win. So Illinois is going to be a good like marker to show where this Ohio State team's at. Yeah,
Miami, I'm not sure we're going to have any more like litmus test games for them. It's more or less, can they win the small one? That just seems like the only thing I could think of.
At this point, like Miami, shout out to John Bird for the gifted membership. But yeah, at this point, thank you so much. I mean, you've been active. I appreciate you for being in the chat all day. But yeah, like thank you so much. Continuing on, sorry, but Miami proving that they can win those smaller ones is going to be very important, just because, like we said, don't leave it up to the AP poll and the AP voters to choose whether or not you make it. Make the AC championship game, win the AC championship game, be a top 4 team by the year's end, and lock it in that you're going to be in.
Yeah,
don't require the voters. I think there's been some viral clips of voters not knowing what they're talking about at all, and which, hey man, I couldn't be a voter. You could not be asking me who the 20, everything about. Sorry, I'm blanking on teams, but sorry, George, answer your question. Sorry, we had to. Louisville in 2 weeks, Friday night. In Miami in a couple weeks, which is going to be a little bit of a test. Like we talked about, Louisville's just on like the outskirts of the top 25. But
last year's Friday night game was a little scary. Was Virginia Tech, and that was
chaos.
Yes,
absolutely. That was on Friday.
We don't have that. Yeah, hopefully we don't have that.
That game was just a blend of days, just because like it just it was up forever for that one.
It was a lot, but yeah, you're right. I think you're right. Miami's I think a goal for Miami should be to win ACC, just for the fact of you've been in the conference now 21 years. Let this be the year where you win, or you finally get the ACC. You get that. That's a huge, huge marker for success in the Mario Cristobal era. When you say, all right, well, what has Mario Cristobal done in his first few years? Well, he's won the state of Florida back-to-back years. He's, he has the chance to win the ACC, after last year's debacle, everything that came out of that. He had the number 1 overall pick last year, right? And then this year, he's got a team that looks like one of the best in Miami's, in Miami's recent history. The best.
And he's really built a program. Like, I think
built a program.
Everything you hear from coming out of this team, the culture and everything, it's year after year after year, you're getting better, and you're seeing those strides and improvements kind of year by year, where now we're kind of seeing the full vision of it. Another thing you talk about, this team is built in the trenches. They're built kind of every way you want the way you want a football team to be built, where your offensive line, your defensive line are killing teams, and then you have the fun skill position players who are able to go off and make plays when you need them to. And that's the way this Miami team's built, the physicality behind it. That has grown year after year. And that is a testament to what Cristobal has kind of preached, throughout his time here. And we're kind of seeing it kind of come together throughout this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a true testament, or we're looking at the steps of what makes a coach become one of the best in your own program. And we're seeing that right now. And he's going to get that. He's going to continue to get that respect and earn the respect from his peers when he shows that he can win the conference and he looks this good. So I think this is just an incredible start to something that could be even bigger for Miami. But this year has everything in the works to be the year for them. I think weakness-wise, I'm not really seeing that, right?
There's no massive hole aside for this team getting its own way.
Exactly.
Like that's the only question you want to see.
Lack of experience would be their biggest weakness.
Yeah, but at the same time, like the transfers that Miami's brought in, a lot of them have the experience. I know, like, some of Miami's key players. Obviously, you're leaning on a receiver who doesn't have that much experience. I know you're leaning on some spots, but at the end of the day, your quarterback is a guy who's played in big games consistently, being at Georgia. You think about, Jacoby Thomas is just one guy, but like he's played in big games in the SEC over at Tennessee. So like I get experience, probably your one hole, but I think in college football, it's not having the experience is sometimes like not as bad necessarily, just because of the fact like they're all young guys playing in big games. A lot of so
yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I look at Ohio State and I say like they have experience because
that's fair. They do have the natty,
and they have the natty. Like I'm talking coaching as well. It's new waters that Mario is kind of getting into.
Yeah.
Like last year was new waters for him when he had 3 games left in the year and they said, "Okay, can you win 2 of them?" And he didn't. Right. This year we're gonna see as November, December as we get there, but that could be a similar question. Hey, can you win these couple games? Get us into the championship, and then, hey, can you win as a championship, get to the playoffs, and make some noise? Like, that's the questions that are going to arise towards the end of the season. So I just think those are just things that we have to, keep coming into mind as we get closer to the, as we get further and further into the season.
100%. Shout out George here, but yeah, it's very unfortunate that we can't continue to whoop y'all every year. But maybe if y'all make the playoffs.
George, I'm rooting for UF to win every game for the rest of the season.
Yeah, y'all have a brutal schedule, and shout out to y'all for taking down Texas.
I want to make this clear. I'm rooting for them because I would like the slim hope that Billy stays. One more year. One more. They're chanting
one more year of Billy. And yeah, if y'all were somehow managed to beat A&M.
A&M and Ole Miss coming up.
Look, another year, Billy. I mean,
one more year, Billy.
If he's taking down top 10 teams, he might actually deserve the job. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, look, if you can take down these teams, give Miami a little bit of a boost in their record, a little bit of a buffer between some of these teams. Have at it. Maybe you can get yourself back in the top 25 that way. But I think that's all we have to say about the game. I do want to talk about something we saw this Sunday. Cam Ward taking home his first victory in his career.
And one of the
it was an interesting game
I've ever watched.
It was an interesting series of events that led to it.
I don't know if I could be a Cardinals fan ever. If I was a Cardinals fan and I watched DeMarcado drop that ball, because the score would have been 28-6 if he doesn't drop the football. To then the Cam Ward interception that turned into a touchdown, and then losing that game. I don't know how I would handle myself if I was a Cardinals fan. I'm a Jets fan, and I don't know. That would gotta suck if you're a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, but in terms of focusing on Cam, because that's all I really care about. He was really fun.
He made some
pick a side. It was a tip ball. Great. Whatever. Pick a side. He was phenomenal. I think he had 190 second half, or was it fourth quarter yards, something like that.
He was elite in the fourth quarter.
You think about that throw to Calvin Ridley to put them in the field goal range to win the game. It was an absolute dart down the field. First time Calvin Ridley got open, seemed like the entire game, and it made the Cardinals pay for it. And like I think that game, you see all the tweets about it. His tape has looked elite, but the numbers and the wins really haven't stacked up to match it.
Yes.
And
fire Brian Callahan.
Yeah, fire Brian Callahan. Still, I don't care. Like hopefully they don't win too many more games. Like it just so
Yeah.
that restart in the terms of the coach. But his tape has looked elite, and finally on Sunday you got to see it match up together, to come together for a really good second half, fourth quarter comeback. Even though the Cardinals themselves, they might have helped. They might have helped a little bit, but John, thank you. Go
John.
Canes as well. Cam Ward, elite fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to see him finally take home that win where so far the season has felt really frustrating for him.
Yeah, and I got one more can I want to give a spotlight to.
Oh, yeah.
Andy. It's Andy.
Andy Borregales, baby.
So happy for him. I hate the Patriots. I was so happy for him when he made that kick.
What a kick. Jeez, that thing looked good from 80 yards.
That thing was a beauty in the Western New York sunset, or not in the sunset, in the night. That was beautiful. It was a beautiful kick. That thing was good from 60 plus.
Yeah,
so happy for him. So happy.
Lined up straight down the middle, booted that thing for the win. As a Pats fan over here, could not have asked for a better way to end my evening after driving 7 hours back from Tally, to go sit down and watch that game and see Andy Borregales with the game on the line nail it was a 52-yarder, 52-yard kick for that game. Just one, sitting on red zone and watching Cam's comeback was phenomenal, and then two, seeing Andy go and nail that kick was just a really good sequence of events to kind of end my night. It
was a great weekend for Miami sports. It was for Miami football. Miami
football. Forget about the other team.
The Dolphins.
They don't.
Miami Hurricanes football. Awesome weekend. There's really not weekends better than that. It's a great weekend now to just watch some really good football because there's some good games this week. Just have fun, enjoy it, because we have to mentally prepare ourselves for 7 straight weeks of Miami football. So
yep, week after week. Yeah. Miami has no more buys, which I think is a little bit rough.
Terrible bye week. FSU bye week is a crime. But we play the games that are on our schedule, as Billy Napier would say. Spot the ball. Let's go win some games.
100%. Go win some games if you're Miami. But yeah, that is all I have.
Me as well. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
It was a really good show,
George. The plan is not to do this, so I hope you know we don't plan on doing this again. So yeah. But the plan is simple: win games.
Want to know every week.
Want to know every week.
Did that on Saturday, despite the fourth quarter issues. But a win's a win. Let's keep moving forward. Louisville on next Friday. We will definitely preview that game next week.
And also, second thing, sorry, George, I don't want to give you too much credit, but yeah, also it's fun that kickers can just nail 65-yarders.
I don't know what's going on with the balls.
I think it might be the fact like they're like allowed to prep them the day before, so they're all like in perfect condition. So
that extends a kick by 10 yards. Like Brandon Aubrey just nailing 70-yarders. Like
exactly. Like,
come on, that's crazy.
Yeah, we need kickers need to. Kickers miss a bunch, but they also are able to hit from further now, which is a weird combination where it's like crazy. Some kickers I don't trust to nail a 40-yard kick, but damn man, if he steps behind that, if he's on the other side of the hat. I mean, if he's on the other side of the field, watch out.
I saw Nick Folk kick a 60-yard field goal. Nick Folk is in year 19.
What the Nick Folk? Wait, when
and he hit it against the Dolphins Monday night. 60-yard field goal to go into halftime. I could not believe it. Nick Folk
is a 40 and under merchant.
Yes. The guy had never. He was like when they used to talk about Nick Folk in his like early years with the Jets. They were like, yeah, he can't kick more than like 55 yards. Like, okay, now he's nailing 60 like it's nothing. What are we doing here?
But Andy,
shout out Andy.
Andy, never mind anything. Andy, I think that kick would have been good from like 60 yards out. So, yeah, I don't care. I mean, look, if Andy's going to continue to nail kicks like that, all I'm saying is, and look, we did the Dolphins. I think we did the whole AFC East a favor by taking down the Bills this weekend.
Yes, but I'm also scared because now there's 2 franchise quarterbacks in the AFC East, and I don't like that. I don't like that. And I don't think I will ever see a Jets playoff team in my lifetime. I think I've accepted that now.
The NFL will just explode. and then be over. No more Jets football.
They need to. I don't know what they need to do, but it feels like nothing will ever get better. Nothing. So that's kind of the stage I'm at. My football season ended, and I looked at Tankathon this morning.
Yeah.
Number one overall pick. Number one overall pick right now.
Yes.
Ruben Bain. Tank for Bain.
Bain.
On that right now.
You're not on Lenore Sellers?
No, I'm not on the quarterback. This is an awful quarterback class.
Okay,
I'm on
well, never mind.
Ruben Bain.
Carson Beck, number 1.
No. Ruben Bain or trade back, please.
Okay.
I cannot do a Dante Moore for Fernando Mendoza.
Hey, man. Hey, wow.
I had Jets fans saying, hey, Oregon, Indiana is the battle for Jets quarterback. I said, please, no.
Yeah, hopefully you get something good. Jets fans, I hate Jets fans, but hopefully you get 7 wins next year.
Is that year 15? Year 15, no playoffs.
Ooh, yay. Anyways,
there are teenagers that have never seen the Jets.
Yeah, that is insane to think about.
And the franchise quarterback that did it is now a criminal. So that's where my franchise is at right now. So.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Mark Sanchez. Okay. Well, anyways, that's all for today. I completely forgot about that situation.
I'll see you guys next week. I actually have I got a call-in show on Thursdays. See me whatever.
Check out with Jaden Thursday.
Yes. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Peace.